to first things first. Time now for Say What? Last night things got a little testy between Joel Embiid and Terry Rozier. Sixers-Celtics game. Nick's doing play-by-play of this boxing match. Here's what Embiid had to say about it. Say what?
They got called for offensive foul, and I was trying to get the ball to keep the game flowing because I felt like we had an advantage and we were on the run. So I just wanted to keep it going and trying to get the ball, and he kind of kept the ball away from me and tried to punish me twice, but too bad he's so short that he couldn't get to my face.
I forgot about him having the fractured orbital bone.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be a good time to get into a fight, but huge advantage there.
I don't know if that picture's exactly to scale. That looks more like Manute Bol and Nate Robinson, but he does have about a foot on Terry Rozier.
What about the shamrocks on the shoes, though? He looked like the mascot.
Oh, you don't like those shoes?
I love the shoes, but on this picture and everything, he looks like he could be out there for the Fighting Irish on the sideline.
Okay, fair enough.
Right?
Absolutely.
The shoes are dope.
Cece, if Rozier and Embiid actually got in a fight, though, what does Rozier have to do? You know what the move is. There's one move he's got to do.
What?
Straight to the throat. Right there, weapon in your hand, straight to the throat. Right.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna let Rozier get on your shoulders and then do that because he's gonna be able to need that. If he does that right there, yeah, he's gonna be right around the groin.
That's not the move.
That's what he's gonna be doing.
That's the move.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Time now
I forgot this building's a lot taller than I'm used to.
To start your morning, the Patriots are reportedly working with Rob Gronkowski on tweaking his deal. For this upcoming season, Gronk is scheduled to make the base salary of $8 million. CC, should the Pats give Gronk more money?
Oh, man, absolutely. Shoot, man, they're like Fox. If you get a chance to get that money, you got to get that money from them because they just don't be giving it up like that. Very few times you're going to see a player in the position that Rob could demand and tell them, I'm not happy with my contract, because there's 53 guys on New England's team not happy with their contract. Ain't no great contracts on that team, but they have the money. He deserves it. He's a special player.
But there's 53 guys on the team. There's two guys that giving them extra money doesn't set a bad precedent for the other guys, Brady and Gronk.
Absolutely.
Those guys can go and get more money, and it doesn't make more guys go to the team and say, oh, well, they got it. Those two guys have won the most with him. They've been with him the longest. They're the two best players. And if you're trying to incentivize Gronk to stay, as long as Brady's going to stay, which looks like at least 2 more years, money's the easiest way to do it.
And with Nate Solder being gone, the lack of a wide receiver outside, he becomes more important to the organization.
Absolutely right.
Hey, guys, guess what Carson Wentz and I have in common? We're both confident we're going to be ready for work at the start of the football season. Both of us working. The Eagles don't
You got
care.
2 vacations before that. He ain't getting none.
You also got probably about 4 colds coming.
All right. You know what? This is a simple read, and it turned into a therapy session. The Eagles don't care so much about my availability, nor do CeCe or Nick. They do care about Wentz's. The Eagles quarterback was trending towards an MVP-caliber season before tearing his ACL in Week 14. Nick, how much different will this season be for Wentz after the Eagles won the Super Bowl without him?
Jenna, we care, first of all, tremendously about your availability. We ain't got no Nick Foles. Like, you're our number one with no backup, so we got
so
you.
Sweet.
I know,
Thank
I love
you.
you, Jenna.
Oh
now,
my God.
listen, I forgot to be totally honest exactly what the question was. However, Carson Wentz, he's going to be ready for the start of the season. What the expectations are for him, he didn't get to participate in the Super Bowl last year. Like, he got the ring, but he didn't get, he doesn't, I wouldn't think, CeCe, don't get me wrong, he felt like he earned it the way those other guys did, even though they wouldn't have been the 1 seed without him.
No, they look at it totally different, but Jenny, you gotta watch him. Howie Roseman, he's always out there looking for potential. Before we got this show going, Nick was trying all kind of people out your spot, but I wouldn't allow that mess. I was like, listen, like Carson Wentz, that's my starter. I know she's a little Nick right here. Let's bring her on in, though. All right? Yeah, just a little bit. Just with the similarity so that we can get a play on it. Yeah, Jenna, we need the quarterback, and we need the quarterback playing confident, but also, Jenna, just like we started in September, we're a lot smarter about what we can do, what we can't do, which jokes, which Steinfeld, is that his name? Okay, all right. Yeah, which ones play well and not. So then you play with a little more, not
intelligence. You just don't take as many hits. Don't take.
Yeah, just what I was going to say.
I got you, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe intelligence wasn't the right word. Maybe sometimes when you use a joke like that, that's not a knock on your... Nah, it's choice.
I couldn't think of the word.
On to the NBA. The Celtics couldn't close out the Sixers last night. Foul trouble hurt them. Solid Sixers defense hurt them. The fact that I bet Nick the Celtics would win, that hurt him. I'm a terrible better. Sixers won Game 4, 103-92. to stave off elimination. Nick, how are the Sixers finally able to beat the Celtics?
Man, it's relatively simple in this one. When you get to take 19 more shots than your opponent, you're damn
and a lot of them at the rim.
Right. I mean, the Sixers weren't hitting from three, but they got 19 more shots thanks to winning the offensive rebounding battle by 10 and having 7 fewer turnovers. Turnovers is something Philly, that's been the indicator all year. If they have fewer than 17 turnovers, they're elite. 17 or more, they win. They're about a 500 team. They took care of the basketball. They offensive rebounded. They didn't need great games from Simmons and Embiid. They still got the win.
And for the first time, though, a little bit you can start to see the tide turn in game number 3. But the overall hustle points. You made a great point about the three-point line. When that's not going for Philadelphia, what can they do? Play good defense and the hustle points. The scrappy points, the deflections. They won that battle, which led to their first victory in this series.
All right. Last, we have the LeBronto Raptors. They were eliminated by the Cavs for the 3rd straight season. They were swept after having the NBA's 2nd best record in the regular season. Underachieving in the playoffs, reportedly, has head coach Dwayne Casey on the hot seat. DeMar DeRozan talks about a very disappointing end to the year.
Last 3 years have been rough for us, you know, competing against this team. Maybe they just got our number. Things just don't go right for us. Whatever it is, it could be a lot of things, you know. All I know is, you know, last 3 years they have been a reason why we haven't advanced. So, you know, whatever that is, I couldn't sit up here and tell you one specific thing. We had opportunities after opportunities after opportunity, and you know, we couldn't pull off, you know, that big challenge you want to face up against, going against a guy like that. You know, all you can ask for at the end of the day is, you know, have the opportunity to face him, to try to, you know, make up for the previous time, you know, and, you know, we just couldn't get it done this time around.
There's a lot there. There's a lot to break down. But you're looking at this Raptors team, how they're made up, who they have, who their coach is. What do they need to do now after being eliminated this year? Aside
from pray LeBron goes to the West, I mean, I know people are going to say fire their head coach. I would ask this question. Who do you think the best head coach in the league is? If he were the coach of the Raptors, how different is this series?
Okay, so let's do it.
Take it to 5 games, maybe 6. This Raptors team is not built to beat LeBron. They've lost 10 straight playoff games to LeBron. They've been swept 2 years in a row.
If you do have a better coach, though, you might flip the tide on those 2 games. Maybe you double-team LeBron in game number 3, take the ball out of his hand. That gets you 1 win right there. If you're able to put back point-blank range, 5 or 6 bunnies in game number 1, now you're tied at 2-2. Maybe you can get those type of adjustments with a different coach.
Yeah, I don't think the coaching discrepancy is the difference between the Raptors and the Cavs. I think it's that the Raptors listen, they were top 5 defense, top 5 offense. They won 59 games. They had a great bench. But what we know is, if you're trying to win a championship, man, and your 2 best players are your guard and your shooting guard and your point guard, what's the template for that? Steph and Clay, okay, so your 2 best players are also the 2 best shooters in the history of the league. I know people would say the bad boy Pistons.
Before they reached their heyday, though, they fired Mark Jackson with 50 games. Now, they're not the shooters, but they were the 1 and 2. Mark Jackson won 50 games. They got criticized for it, but look where the franchise has gone since then.
I understand that. But I think Dwayne Casey's better than Mark Jackson, and I don't think Steve Kerr's out there to be hired. Like, I don't think firing your coach fixes it for you. I think the team is built flawed if you're trying to win a championship. I would see what the value for DeMar DeRozan is. I would see what I can get in a trade for him.
Okay.
Because I can't run it. I agree with you on this, C. I can't run it back. I can't ask the good people of Toronto, hey, guys, if LeBron stays in the conference, we're going to run this back again. Because what are they going to get excited about? 61 wins? They were the 1 seed. They were healthy. They had everything going for them, and they got mollywopped in the second round of the playoffs.
I do believe, even if we disagree if they should move on the coach or not, which I do believe they should do. I believe it helps the organization. I believe a voice, because I believe the staff is a pretty good staff, and that's how you get to 59 wins. That's how you change the offense and change the defense. Casey didn't do that. The assistant coaches did. If you read all the articles leading up to this and everything, the assistant coaches played a heavy role in that. So, okay, we'll leave the coach alone. As a star player, I need to look at myself. DeMar DeRozan, he let them down in this 4-game series with Cleveland. Why? What we talk about all year, he changed his game. He's better at the three-point line. Didn't make one three-pointer in 4 games. Hadn't got to the free throw line in 3 games until last night. So in 4 games, he shot 4 free throws. So as a superstar, that is not acceptable. So yeah, I give you a pass on the coach from a discussion right now. DeMar needs to look at himself, because if he plays better, then a dominant guard team, we can advance to the finals. We can get to the NBA finals, because Kyle Lowry, he did his part. Now, he played the Batman in this. Robin and DeMar didn't play his in this.
Let me just throw one fake trade at you before we move on. If they are considering moving on from DeMar DeRozan, if they want to keep the head coach, or maybe they want to move on from them both. What about a sign-and trade with Boogie Cousins? DeMar and Boogie. You're in Toronto. You have a legitimate center to pair with Kyle Lowry. You're in New Orleans. You add another wing player, which gives you some of the scoring that you need, especially if you don't know if you're going to be able to keep Rajon Rondo and have Drew Holiday go back to the point guard spot.
But why do you have to trade for Boogie? Boogie's going to be a free agent.
Because they got no cap space. Because they gave Ibaka that $20 million. Like, that's the other thing with Toronto. They're locked into this team unless they trade a guy.
Oh, Serge got to go too.
Well, nobody wants him.
When you don't start him in a pivotal game, number 4, a closeout game, you're letting me know right now he's not that type of valuable. So you need to be able to.
You got to try. He's got $42 million in 2 years left. I don't know who wants that for Serge Ibaka, but yeah, they'd like to move on from him.
I need to come back as an NBA player in my next life. So if I don't play and $42 million is just out there, I just wanted to take a break and let you guys know.
You're gonna have to work on there, Jenna.
What would you say?
Nothing.
You got all that? Okay, good. Moving on to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's talk Cowboys. Their offense will look just a little different this year after some big